Hi everyone! Here I am, Francesco from Rome. This is the live stream, so I'm waiting for everybody to get connected, and then we can start. You can either join me here live, or if you want to take part of the conversation, you can join the Zoom link. Hi everyone, here are the first connections. Hi Karen, hi Justin. Hey Andrea. So, here's my apartment. New apartment, I moved here 1 month ago, right before the lockout. So I'm still getting used. It's in the north of the city of Rome, in the neighborhood of Prati. I used to live in the south before, but it's nice to be here. It's a very nice apartment, very large according to the Roman standards, and it has a nice kitchen. That's good for us. And here it's 6 p.m., so almost sunset. So the plan here is I'm just waiting for everybody to connect. I see here 12 people on. Okay, good. 12 already. And whenever we have a good number of people, we can start. I'll first introduce myself, and I cannot guide you around, unfortunately. I cannot show you Rome because I'm not allowed to leave the apartment. But I can maybe show you something from the window, and then we all go to the kitchen for the cooking class. Okay. We have 16 people on the live stream, 12 on Zoom. Good. I'm happy I can see some of you. Everybody. So I don't know if someone's gonna try and cook along. It's gonna be a nice experience. It's really one of my favorite dishes in Roman cuisine. It's simple, but so tasty. You cannot imagine you can have such a good dish out of simple vegetables. It's very, very good. And really, really typical of Rome, and particularly of this time of the year. I'm gonna tell you why. And so whenever we're ready, you can give me a sign and I can start. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, here we go. And so I'm Francesco from Rome. I was born in Rome. I grew up in Milan, came back to Rome. I started traveling. I studied philosophy first, with a major in philosophy, minor in history, and specialized in aesthetics, which is sort of philosophy of art. And I love art, I love history, and I love traveling. When I was 22, 23, I did my study abroad in Paris for 1 year, and it was an amazing experience. First of all, because I managed to discover another culture, another country. I learned about French language, French cuisine, French music, literature, and what I love the most about that experience, though, it's not just discovering about a different culture, it's also getting another insight on your own culture. While I was in France, I learned to really understand what's unique about Italian culture. That was very, very, very important for me. And after I was back to Italy, I thought, no, I cannot stop traveling, and that's why I decided to just go to Brazil for like a few months and met so many amazing people there, and that was another amazing experience. And then I went back to Italy, and I was graduating, and I thought, yeah, I cannot just stop traveling, but also I needed, some firm ground, and so I decided to start working in tourism. I first started working in a hostel in Rome, and that's where I met Christian for the first time. That was a great time, and that was around 6 years ago, and 6 years ago, and starting from that moment, I started guiding, and that was so inspiring for me. I studied a lot. I love learning. I love culture. I love teaching. Recently, I started teaching philosophy as an assistant professor in the University of Rome. I just finished my PhD 2 years ago in philosophy. I love teaching, but I think that teaching inside four walls, it's sometimes limiting, especially like being, locked in a library for the whole year it's not good for your health and for your mental health as well. So that's why I like so much when spring comes and I can start guiding tours, and it's an amazing experience for me. I can meet new people, I can see the things I love, and talking about things you actually see is totally different. So I would love in this moment to show you my city, but as you know, Italy is in a lockout since 3 weeks now. So we are not allowed to leave the apartment. It's tiring, it's hard, but it's working. So I don't know if you follow the news, finally things are changing, so just be strong, and I know we can make it. And yeah, so I cannot show you around my neighborhood, but I can show you from the window. So I'll show you what we can see from our balcony here. And here we are. So as you can see, some people are in the streets, not many. Usually this is a very, very busy area. A lot of people live around here. Most of the people, as you can see, wear the mask. Here we have a supermarket. You are basically only allowed to leave your apartment if you go for like buying things. So since there's a big supermarket here, many people come here. As you can see, they have like 2 meters distance, and yeah, people are quite responsible, and it's nice to see how people are dealing with this. And you can see some flags. There's a European flag over there, some Italian flags over there. It's a nice moment of unity. And what I wanted to show you here is that hill that you see over there. That's Monte Mario. Monte Mario, it's the only monument, the only important thing I can show you live, because we can see it from my balcony. Monte Mario is the highest hill in Rome, 139 meters above the sea level, and there's an amazing view from there. It's the highest hill of Rome, but it's not one of the 7 hills, because the famous 7 hills, according to the legend, Rome was founded above 7 hills. Well, it's not one of the 7 hills, because when Rome was founded, this was out of the city of Rome. This area, Prati, is Prati in Italian means meadows. So these were large, like, meadows out of the city, where people used to go in weekends for picnics, and the neighborhood developed in the 19th century and early 20th century when Rome became the capital of the newborn state of Italy. Well, the hill over there is called Monte Mario. Mario, don't think of Super Mario. It's a strange name even for us, and we don't know exactly why it's called like that. There are three hypotheses. The first is that it's called Mario because of mare, the ocean, the sea. In Italian, mare means sea, and from up the hill you can see the ocean, the Tyrrhenian Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, which is about 20 miles from here. This is one hypothesis. The second one is they found some seashells on top of the hill, because probably in the prehistorical age this was under the level of the sea, so that's why they probably called it the Mountain of the Sea. Another hypothesis is it was originally called Monte Malo, the Bad Mountain, because the German emperor in the 10th century would have killed a lot of people over there. This is also another hypothesis, but I'm not sure about it, because an older name of this mountain was Mons Gaudi, the Mount of Joy. Why the Mount of Joy? You know the El Camino, the Camino of Santiago de Compostela, all the pilgrims going to Santiago de Compostela. Well, even more pilgrims used to come to Rome. And there was another pilgrim way, very famous one called Francigena, starting from Canterbury in the UK, crossing France, Reims, crossing the Alps, through Italy, Tuscany, and finally reaching Rome. Well, the pilgrims, after months and months of traveling, were finally reaching, there it is, that hill. And they reached the top of the hill, and suddenly, in front of them, they have the spectacle, the majestic view of the city of Rome. The best view of Rome was up there. And when they reached that hill, they knew they reached Rome, their destination. They arrived in Rome. And that was their greatest joy. So that's why it was called the Mount of Joy, Mons Gaudi. Last hypothesis for the name of the hill is because of a guy called Mario, a noble person who lived there in the 1400s, who owned that villa. That was originally a 1400s villa, noble, beautiful Renaissance villa on top of the mountain. And now, in the 20th century, it has been converted into the astronomical observatory of Rome. And I'll go back inside so everybody can listen better. And here I am, guys. So the last option, why Monte Mario? Well, it could be because of this villa owned by this guy, Mario, which now is the astronomical observatory of Rome. There are two domes through which you can see the stars, and a tower that's for observing the sun. It's one of the main centers of studies on the sun. And well, I think now we are all here. We are ready. We're maybe hungry. And so I think it's time to go to the kitchen and start our cooking class. Okay, so here is my kitchen, and I'll put this computer here and this computer here, maybe. So we have two different views. Well, it's not a huge kitchen, but there's everything you need for cooking. I'll mostly refer to that computer, the live stream on Facebook. And okay, here we are. So traveling is not just discovering the monuments of the city, it's discovering the culture of a country. And a huge part of the culture of a country is food. So if you ever come to Italy, or for those who have been here, they'll know that tasting, discovering Italian cuisine is probably as important as discovering its monuments. And in my opinion, the best of Italian cuisine is not even in restaurants, but it's the food culture that Italians share. I'm not a professional cook. I'm not an expert. So I don't even have the most important tools. But I would say, as most of average Italians, I love cooking and I love good food. And this is something we share in our family. Every Christmas with my aunt and uncle and my grandmother, my mother, we all cook together, my cousins, we all cook together, we share recipes. There's a bit of competition on who cooks the best thing, and this is really important in our culture. So what I want to share with you today is the recipe of the Carciofi alla romana, the Roman style artichokes. Here are the artichokes. As you can see, these are a bit different from the ones that you probably have in the US. They are typical artichokes of Rome. Something very important in Italian cuisine is local products. If you go to Milan, they'll have completely different artichokes, and therefore different recipes and so on. So these are also called mammole, and they are famous for being round, no thorns. This means that you can eat most of it. And they grow from February to April. Usually, so March is the artichoke month. And everywhere you'll see artichokes in this time of the year. That's also why I decided to choose this recipe. As I told you, any artichoke will work. You can do it with any kind of artichoke, but these are really the best for this. So something interesting about Italian cuisine is we like to save everything. We don't like to waste. So we use some part of the artichoke, the best part, we cook it alla romana. With the things that you would usually throw away, we keep it, we save it, and with that part, the leaves of the artichoke, we're gonna do risotto. The risotto is a typical way of cooking rice from the north of Italy, especially the region of Milan. And I think we are going to start with the artichoke, and then while the artichoke cooks, we're going to prepare the risotto. Okay, here we are. So, we have for the artichokes, that's the most important thing, obviously. And here are the ingredients for the seasoning. That's parsley, garlic, mentuccia, that's lesser calamint. In Italian it's called mentuccia or nepitella. I don't know if it's common out of Italy or if it's an Italian thing, I don't know. It has a very particular taste in between oregano and mint. It's a plant that grows wild in the region around Rome. When I go with groups to Tivoli, Tivoli is a wonderful little city on top of a cliff with a waterfall and in the middle of a forest with an ancient Roman temple on top of the waterfall and a medieval city center and a Renaissance palace with a garden. All that together. It's like crazy. You have to go there. Well, whenever I go there, either with groups or with my family or friends, it's like half an hour from Rome. Very easy. You go by train in half an hour. There's a rock close to the waterfall where a lot of mentuccia, a lot of lesser calamine grows. So whenever I go there, I collect all this wild mentuccia for home. So obviously it's not something you can do every time, and in markets usually you find it. Now, since we're in a lockout, I found it dry, which is also good. And yeah, then what we have here, we have some vegetables to prepare the bouillon, the broth, the vegetarian broth for the risotto. Some wine, which is also good for preparing the risotto, and here is the olive oil and the rice. Okay, first thing is cleaning the artichokes. This seems easy, but it's a very important part. How to clean the artichokes. Okay, here they are. Nice. As you can see, it has a long stem. We're going to cut the last part. This is too hard, we're going to throw it away. Then we cut the rest of it like this. This we're going to keep it and cook it. We have to peel it though, because the part which is outside is too hard, too thick, so we have to clean it, peel it away. The part which is inside is very good. And here it is. Just do it like you would do with a carrot, more or less. And okay, here you see. Then I'll do the same with the other one. I don't know if someone's also doing it with me, but yeah. Okay, here it is. Now, what we're going to do with it, we have to cut the top part. The top of the leaves, they're too hard. Okay, so we're going to cut this off. Like this. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the other one. More or less, you cut 1/3 of it, the top part. Good. Okay. Now, this part we're actually going to throw it away because it's really too thick, too hard. And here we have. If you have any question, don't hesitate to write it, post it on the Facebook page. Maybe you didn't notice. Let me check. And let me check here. Oh yeah, you did. You did. Okay. Hi guys. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, these artichokes are beautiful. So okay, next part. Here we have our half artichoke. We're gonna peel this off. We are just gonna remove the external leaves, which are harder, and we are gonna keep the inner leaves, which are softer. And these external leaves, we're not gonna throw them away. We're gonna keep them to prepare the risotto. So just put it somewhere around here. We are going to remove all the leaves until we reach this more like yellowish part inside. That's the softer part. Okay, I think that this is more or less good. And okay, and then we're gonna keep this here. We're gonna do the same with the other artichoke here. You see all the darker leaves, we're gonna remove them. There are two main ways of cooking, of preparing artichokes in Rome. One is called alla romana, that's what we are preparing now, Roman style. And the other one is alla Judea, the Jewish style. Actually, both of these recipes are typically Roman. And they're both related to the Jewish community of Rome. And if you ever come to Rome and visit the Jewish quarter, Il Ghetto, it's a very, very beautiful area right in the city center. And the Jewish community of Rome is one of the oldest in the world. Maybe you probably know about the difference between Ashkenazi and Sepharad, so the Jews from Eastern Europe and those from Spain and north of Africa. Well, the Roman Jews are even older than this division, so they're just Roman Jews. They have their own language, dialect, which is a mix of Roman dialect with ancient Hebrew words, and their own rituals. So in Rome we have Roman synagogues, one Ashkenazi synagogue, and some Sepharad synagogues. And the Jewish community of Rome is actually here since the ancient Roman times. The reason why St. Paul and St. Peter came here is because there was a big Jewish community, and they were, and many of them converted to Christianity. That's why the center of Christianity became Rome. And this is to say that the Jewish tradition of Rome are the most Roman. The Jewish recipes of Rome, of the Jewish Roman cuisine, is the oldest Roman cuisine. Okay, here we have the leaves are the artichokes. So, what are we going to do with the leaves of the artichokes? We're going to boil them to make them softer and remove the good part from the bad part. So we're going to boil them for around like 15-20 minutes, and we can do it in this pot, the big pot I have here. Here it is. Yeah, it's just washing them, but I washed it before already, but you never know. Here it is. Okay. So, okay, turn the fire on. Now we're going to do two things. Boiling the leaves of the artichoke, we're going to make them softer, so we're going to remove them and separate the good part from the bad part. We're going to make a sort of cream with the soft part of the leaves, and we're going to throw away the hard part. And at the same time, we're going to boil them here, and we're going to keep the water. So, what's so special about the Roman style artichoke? How it is? It's not just the seasoning, it's the way it's cooked. When you cook an artichoke, if you cook it in a pan, simply, it's usually too chewy, too hard. If you boil it, yeah, it becomes soft, but all the flavor, all the taste goes to the water. And then you throw away the water. That's a waste. So the Roman artichoke, the idea of the Roman style artichoke, is not just the seasoning, which is important, garlic, parsley, lesser calamine. The idea is to cook the artichoke with oil and water together and let it cook until all the water evaporates. What happens? This way, the water will make the artichoke softer, but then it will evaporate, leaving all the taste here with the oil and the artichoke. The oil will give taste to the artichoke, will absorb the taste from the water, and the water, you know that water boils at 100 Celsius degrees. This means that the water will keep the oil at 100 Celsius degrees. So the water will help the oil not burn. The oil is only bad when it goes to higher temperatures, and then it becomes toxic. But if the oil stays at a lower temperature, like in this case, it's good and healthy. Now, how to clean the artichokes, part 2. Let's remove this external part here. At the bottom. Like this. Whoops. And let's do the same with the other one. And so now it's nice and beautiful from outside. The most difficult part now, it's the inner side. The inner side of the artichoke has some thorns that we have to eliminate. So now we are going to remove these inner leaves and obtaining a little space inside that we're going to fill with the seasoning. So we now remove them, just trap them away. Yeah, like this. You just pull them off like this. Okay? The inner ones have a little thorns that are not nice to chew. Like this. And then in the middle of the artichoke, you don't really see it, but in the middle of it, there's some choke, some hair, sort of. And we're going to remove it with a little spoon. The idea is that the Roman style artichoke is not cutted. You cook it entire, like this. Little coffee spoon, and you put it inside, and you just remove all the choke. You see all this little hair? So that's the part of the artichokes that it's harder to chew, and it's a bit by removing that part and the external part, the artichoke will become soft and nice, with a nice texture. Also, removing that part, it will leave a nice hole here that we can fill with the seasoning. Okay, now this is good. We're going to do the same here. First, we pull all the inner leaves off, like this. here it is. As you can see, there is a nice hole inside where we can fill with the seasoning. Okay. Let's throw this away. Here we are. Now, the seasoning. We're going to use this little bowl to prepare the seasoning. By the way, this is a nice little bowl of artistic ceramic that comes from De Ruta in Umbria. De Ruta is a famous little city famous for its crafted artistic ceramics and pottery. There are so many places in Italy famous for the pottery and the ceramics, like Faenza in the north of Italy, Caltagirone in Sicily. You have Vietri in the Amalfi Coast, beautiful. And that's what's interesting about traveling as well, is discovering the local crafts, the local traditional arts, and maybe take home some souvenirs. Okay, now we're gonna put here everything we need for the seasoning. We're gonna start with the garlic, and I know garlic stinks and everything, but don't be shy. It's good. It's important for this recipe. So we are going to use 2 little things. There is a little trick to remove the bad smell of the garlic. You probably know it. It's removing the inner part. In Italian, we call it l'anima, which means the soul of the garlic. It's usually a little green line. That's what's harder to digest, and that's what stinks the most. So we cut it in half like this, and then you see there's this little green part. We're going to remove it, and it's very simple. Voila. So that's the part that will give you problems, but like this. This is perfect. We can trim it. We can cut it very thin and add it to the seasoning. And then on the other side, and here it is, one. The second part. Perfect, like this. And then we add it here. Then let's add a second garlic. I removed the inner part, the soul of the garlic. And now we can trim it as well. And here we are. Last part. And here we go. Now, after this, we can add the lesser calamint, mentuccia, and the parsley. I'm gonna wash it first. Here we are. I'm gonna just keep the leaves and remove the rest. Hop, one. And okay, now chop it. And here we go. All together. Good. Well, it already smells good. I don't know if you can feel it through the, but it smells like very good artichokes coming from the pot where the leaves are boiling. Now some pepper, some black pepper, a little bit spicy, just a tiny little bit, and some salt. One, and let's make two, and then the olive oil. Now, one little parenthesis about the olive oil. So, how to tell a good oil from a bad oil? This is not a good oil. This is an acceptable oil. So, first of all, it needs to be extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin, it means that you take the olives, you press them, and you extract the fat part, that is the oil, from the juice. When you do this, simply, this is extra virgin. Then, if you take the part that has been thrown away and you press it a second time, that's not extra virgin. That's still olive oil, but it's worse quality. So whenever you see olive oil and it's not written extra virgin, it means it's not good. Maybe it's good for frying, for deep frying. It's not good for the rest. So it needs to be extra virgin, first thing. Also, you can see here it's written estratto a freddo, cold extraction. What is the cold extraction? To extract the oil from the juice of the olives, this process can be simply physical, mechanical, or chemical. If there's any chemical process involved, yeah, it's going to be faster, it's going to be easier, but the quality is going to be ruined. In European Union, we have very strict laws about it. So, in order to be considered extra virgin olive oil, estratto a freddo, cold extraction, the extraction needs to be at maximum 27 degrees, Celsius degrees. So you cannot warm the oil in order to separate them, because if the oil gets hot, then all the vitamins, the aroma, the taste is going to be lost. So these are the most important things to select an oil which is okay, not a good oil, just an oil that is good enough to use. So the one I bought at the supermarket in front of here, it's okay. It's extra virgin, it's cold extraction, and it's produced in the European Union. Algerian oil, Tunisian oil out of the European Union is also good. It's not that the European Union is better, but in the European Union we have this more like strict laws, so you're safer. You know that it's okay with these parameters. But when it's from the European Union, it means that it's a blend of different oils coming from different countries. Usually Greece, Spain, Italy. Usually with the industrial oil, when it says from the European Union, it means it doesn't come from Italy. Because Italian oil is very good. So if it's actually an Italian oil, they're going to write Italian oil. So you have from a known place, that's bad. From European Union, you know already it's selected somehow. Then when it comes from one only country, it doesn't have to be Italy. If you have an oil that comes only from Spain, it's better because you know that it's not a blend. When it's a blend, what's the problem? It means that it's industrial. It means that they shipped the olives from one way to the other. The olives are not fresh, and so on. Even better is when the oil comes from only one region. For example, when it's written oil from Tuscany, oil from Sicily. There you know it's fresh, and there you can even taste differences. One is spicier, the other is sweeter, and that's when fun comes. So I usually have better oil, but during this time I could only use this industrial oil I found in the supermarket, which is still okay because it's extra virgin and it comes from the European Union. Little parenthesis. I hope that was useful. Now, here we have our little seasoning. We're going to mix it a bit. And what are we going to do then? We're going to put it inside the holes that we created in the artichokes. Here is a little hole. We take this seasoning and we put it in the middle like this, and voila. And if you want also among the petals, among the leaves, some here and there. This way, the flavor is going to pass and be absorbed by the artichoke. I'm going to do the same here with the other one. And if you see it's not enough, you can prepare some more. Add another garlic and some more leaves. That's it. It's simple, very simple, but so tasty. These herbs smell very good together. And it's also very healthy. Yeah, I know the olive oil is fat, but it's good fat. Not all the fat is bad. And the important thing is that you don't burn it. If you don't burn the oil, it's still going to be good. It's basically, it comes from the olives. It cannot be bad. Okay. Now, we're almost done with the artichokes. Now comes the cooking part. What are we going to do here? We are going to take a pot here, and we're going to put, sorry guys, wrong pot. We're going to put the 2 artichokes upside down like this. Facing down with the, okay, you see it here? So it's 2 artichokes are facing down like this. Why is this important? Because the leaves are the hardest part, and they're the ones that need to cook the most to get softer, while the top part can be out of the oil, and it will cook anyway because it's softer. Also, it's important you take a small pot like this one and you fill it with the artichokes. So take a pot that is just big enough for feeding the artichokes, because you're going to have to fill it with olive oil and water, and olive oil can be expensive, so you don't want to waste too much. That's it. Then we take this part of the artichoke. I cut 1 in half, and we're going to put it next to the other. Okay, just like this. Now, we are going to put some more seasoning outside. Okay, so we're going to put some lesser calamine here outside. We're going to put some salt. Yes. And we are going to some black pepper again. some oil. Now, we're going to put actually a lot of oil. So don't be shy. Just, we're going to have to put at least enough to cover 1/3 of the part with the leaves, okay? Then you can throw away the rest. You don't have to drink it all. Now, we're going to fill the rest with water. Until all the part with the leaves is completely covered. Okay, I think this is enough. And now, we're just going to cook it. We're not just going to cook it until all the water evaporates. That's going to take 20 minutes maximum. So we are almost done. The fire can be like middle low, not too strong. And let's cover it so it becomes kind of stew, and also the part which is outside of the water is going to cook well, like with the steam and everything. Okay, you can see. Good. Now it comes to the second part, the risotto. First thing, we're going to have to remove the leaves that we started cooking before and remove the soft part from the hard part. To make this, in order to make this, I'll need an assistant because it's kind of a long job. You're going to spend like 10 minutes doing this. So to make it faster, I'll ask Nicole to come and help me.
Ciao.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
So, okay.
Che bello.
So we are using this so we can remove the leaves, take the leaves and leave the water. This water absorbed all the taste from the artichokes. So it's a tasty water that we're going to use to cook the rice. And brodo vegetale, brodo di carciofi. It's a sort of bouillon. In order to make it tastier, I'm going to add to this water some of these other vegetables that I showed you before. Some celery, some onions, some carrots, some other parsley. Good. Okay, I'll start preparing the ingredients for to add to the bouillon. We have the celery here.
Where should I go? I stay here?
Yes.
Or... I do it with a spoon or with the...
Yes, I'm gonna show you. This the celery, we're gonna add it to the bouillon here. So let's see, what do we do now with the leaves of the artichokes? Let's make, I'm gonna do one to show you, and then Nicole is gonna help us and do the rest. Here we have one of the leaves are the artichokes. As you can see, the outside part is very a lot of fibers. It's very chewy. It's not good to eat. But the part which is inside is very good and softer. So with a spoon, with a little spoon, okay, we are going to just, and voila, all this part which is inside, it's soft, creamy, and good.
Super tasty.
Super tasty. We have a witness here.
Yes.
And so we keep this part. As you see, it's a kind of a long job, but it's worth it. So we keep this part, and this we throw it away. Basically, we're doing with a spoon what you usually do with your teeth when you eat it. So I hope you saw it. Here is the leaf of the artichoke that we boiled, and with a little spoon, just take the nice part from inside. You keep this, and you throw away the rest. And take it all. I'll be back here, and I'll add some of the things we need for the bouillon inside. I'm cutting the onions now. They tricked me. This onion is not very good. There's all the inner part is kind of, yeah,
Fake onion.
Fake onion. It's beautiful from outside and it's ugly inside. Usually it's the opposite, but so I throw away the bad part and I keep the good part because we never waste things. And I'm gonna put it here in the bouillon to give some taste to it. Then we are going to add the parsley. I'm gonna wash it real quick. Add it here. And we are going to add a couple of carrots. We clean them real quick. It doesn't have to be super accurate because you're just boiling them to give some flavor to the bouillon. We don't really have to eat them. And same with this. One and two. Here it is. And so, as you see, this is boiling a lot. It means that it's it looks like it smells good, and it actually smells good. Okay, so the bouillon is cooking. What's left? We need to add some salt, and I will add some tomatoes too to give some color. Not a lot of them, just a few. Some little cherry tomatoes. These are from Pachino, Sicily. Pachino is a little town in Sicily famous for their cherry tomatoes.
It's the first time they're really tasty this year. They
Yeah.
got some more sun.
Yeah, last year it rained a lot, not enough sun, and the vegetables were not good as usual. I don't know why. Okay, good.
But German people, they are still good.
Okay, so the Carciofi alla romana are cooking. Nicole's finishing to prepare the little sauce, the little artichoke cream over there.
I need to speed up with this.
No, take time. There's time.
Okay, good.
Risotto. What's the concept of the risotto? Risotto is a way of cooking rice. Instead of boiling rice and adding it to a sauce, with the risotto, you cook the rice with just the right amount of water, better bouillon because it's tastier, just the right amount of water, then you need to cook it, and then you don't throw the water away, but you let it evaporate. So the same concept of the Roman artichoke. This way, all the flavors gonna stay there. And you probably know that rice, just like potatoes and other vegetables, have a lot of starch. It depends on the kind of rice. The risotto rice, the rice that you need for risotto, is very rich in starch. The starch, while cooking with the water, the bouillon, the artichokes, and the wine, the starch is going to turn into a sort of jelly cream, and that's going to create that creamy texture that a risotto has. So the starch is very important to create this. That's why you need to use a risotto rice. Well, which rice to use? I have some arborio rice. Scotty is an industrial brand. I'm sorry, guys, it's not a good brand. But as I told you, in a lockout, it's very hard to find good things. So in the supermarket in front of here, that's the only thing that we found. But still, it's arborio. What about the kind of rice that you can have? Well, I start preparing the rest. So I'm gonna prepare some onion to cook together with the rice. Okay, you don't need a lot of it. I'll use like a quarter of onion. This is a big one, otherwise like half of it. First of all, we're gonna have to make a soffritto. A soffritto, that's the secret of every Italian meal. Soffritto literally means like under-fried, sub-fried. So it's not really fried. There's some olive oil, but it's cooked with a low temperature, and basically you're seasoning the oil with some spices, some onions, or if you prefer, some garlic. And after you seasoned the oil, you can add the thing you're gonna cook. So first, we do the soffritto. Olive oil, onions, maybe a little spice. Maybe I'll add some lesser calamine, just to give the oil some flavor. Then, when the onions are becoming golden, not burned, but well done, then, like transparent already, then we add the kind of artichoke cream that Nicole's preparing, just removing the soft part from the leaves of the artichoke. We're going to add it inside, mix it. When that's ready, we add the rice. And we let the rice absorb the taste of the artichoke for around like 4 or 5 minutes. Then before the rice burns, we add a glass of wine that will evaporate very fast, but it will give this a bit sour back taste to the risotto. That's very important. And also the alcohol contained in the wine helps melting all the other substances and create this sort of caramelized sauce. It will help creating the creamy texture. And then we're going to add the bouillon little by little. It doesn't have to boil. It just has the right amount of water in order to the risotto not to attach to the and burn. Okay, just the risotto is going to absorb the water. When it absorbs it, you add some more. Okay, here's the onion, olive oil. Okay, this here, and when the oil is warm, in a few seconds we're going to add the onions inside. Okay, some history behind the rice. There are 2 kinds of rice. There are many kinds actually, but all these different kinds of rice can be reduced to 2 main groups. You have this thicker rice that you see here, which is smaller, thick, and a bit round. Okay, like arborio is one kind, this one, carnaroli, other. These are part of the family of the japanica because it originally came from Japan. Then you have basmati rice, for example. You'll see the difference here. So the basmati is, basmati here, it's very thin and long. And the arborio here is short and thick. Arborio has a lot more starch, and you can cook it for 15-20 minutes. It has time to absorb all the flavor, and it's still good. Basmati is perfect for the opposite reason, because it doesn't have a lot of starch, so it's still good and dry when you boil it. So different conception. Basmati is an Indian rice, and actually it's part of the family of indica. In the ancient times, Chinese, Japanese, Indians used a lot of rice. Europeans didn't. The first rice came to Europe through the conquest of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC. So there was some rice in Persia, in Turkey, in Syria, Egypt. The Roman knew it, but didn't. They were importing it sometimes, but they were never growing it. Then, in the Middle Age, rice started coming more and more to Italy. Why to Italy? Because of the Venetians and the Genoese. Genoa and Venice were the two main sea republics, 2 independent cities that were controlling the Mediterranean Sea. All the best sailors and merchants were there. The Venetians especially were trading between the Eastern world, the Arabic Empire, and the Northern world, Northern Europe, so the German Empire. And that's why the Venetians started importing rice from the East. And in the 1400s, they managed to import this particular kind, the japanica, this Japanese rice, and they realized that it was perfect for the region around the river Po, the region around Milan, basically, between Turin and Milan. There is a large river over there, which is perfect for growing rice. To grow rice, you need to flood the field. So the plant grows in the water. And to work with it, you have to put your feet directly in the water. Guys, I was burning the oil. Never do. Never talk while you're cooking. I think I saved it for a second, but let's see.
Sorry, I also did that.
Okay, now it's gonna... I hope I didn't waste it, but... So... Okay, do not do this, okay? To make a sofrito, the oil needs to be warm, but not super hot, otherwise it burns. But I think I saved it. It still smells good. Okay. Let's add some lesser calumet here. And back to the fire. When the onions are going to be transparent and can add the rice. I'm pretty sure that most of you know a very famous Italian song, Bella Ciao. Why I'm mentioning this? It's connected to the rice somehow. I remember once I was in Brazil in a party and they put Bella Ciao, everybody started dancing, oh that's so fun, Italia, Bella Ciao, ha ha ha. And for me it was a very strange experience because if you know the lyrics, that's not a fun thing at all. It's a very dramatic song that talks about the resistance in Italy during World War II. So it was the resistance against the Nazis. And the song tells you about farewell, Bella, I cannot stand this anymore, I'm going to the mountains and fight against the Nazis, and I know that I will die, and when I'll die, please bury me under a flower. So the people who will come will see the flower, and when they will ask you, who's this flower? You will say, this is the flower of the partisan who died for freedom. So it's very deep, very, it's a song about freedom, about the origin of our modern nation. As you know, 1945, after the end of the World War II, finally Italy became an independent republic, democratic republic. So, and actually, April 25, in 1 month, it's going to be 75 years from the liberation of Italy. So that song will be sang everywhere. Why I am telling you this, talking about rice? Because actually, the song that the partisans, that the resistance were singing, was a remake. They changed the lyric of a traditional older song. The first version of Bella Ciao was actually a song sang by the women who were working in the rice fields in the north of Italy. These women were called mondine. And this was a labor song. Basically, just like in the US, you had the cotton fields, in Italy we had the rice fields. And these women were working almost like slaves, working very hard from morning to night, and the Lord was beating them, and there were mosquitoes, no civil rights, Nothing, just working, getting sick, and dying. Terrible, terrible situation. And these women were working and singing Bella Ciao. And I'm gonna post on the group this song about the rice fields. I think now this is good enough. It tastes well. We can add the rice, not the basmati, but the arborio rice. Proportions. How much rice do you need? It depends on how hungry you are. We usually do 100 grams of pasta per person. That's too much for rice. Why? Because this rice absorbs a lot of water. So this little thing will get 5 times its volume. So usually one little coffee cup like this is enough for one person, because it will become 5 times bigger. Then, let's be honest, this is so tasty that you will want more than one dish. So I will put, we are 2, I'll put 3, 4 little cups, maybe.
Yes.
And if I have to translate this in metric system, I would say between 50 and 80 grams per person. I don't know in ounces, or I don't know, but yeah, you can do it like this. Now we have to mix it and let the rice absorb the oil and the onions. Are you done with that?
No, sorry.
Can I start adding this?
Sure.
So I'm gonna help Nicole to make it faster, and I'll be right back. Hi guys. I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry. And we're going to open a bottle of wine soon.
Yeah, I was asking for it.
Yeah. It's coming, it's coming.
That's a good thing of risotto, that you have to drink the rest
Yeah.
of the wine somehow.
Otherwise it gets wasted, it's a pity, you don't want that. Almost done here. Oh, that's good. I see someone with a We have a really nice Chardonnay. Amazing. And here we are. Okay, we add this to the rice. So, I want to show you one thing. You see this little this thing of artichoke? If you smash it, it's very soft. You can smash it. If you add some ricotta cheese, some white cheese, some yogurt, up to you, a bit of salt, a bit of spices, it becomes an amazing artichoke spread that you can put on bread. It's very good for an appetizer. So, this means do never throw away your artichoke leaves. They're always good to make something. Now, we mix it with the rice, the onions, the oil. Look at it.
The color is very nice, like the original flower with the violet.
Yes, it's true. So you can see, colors are also important in food. So we're mixing here the artichoke with the sofrito, so olive oil and onions. We let it get warm. We let the rice absorb the taste. A few minutes. I think that's enough already. And we can add the white wine.
Ah, you have already.
I have it here. I bought a pecorino. It's an organic wine. Pecorino, it's a typical wine from the center of Italy, especially Marche, Umbria, Abruzzo, Lazio. I think this comes from Abruzzo. And it's not a fancy wine, but it's good. And it's one of the best white wines you can have for an affordable price in the center of Italy. When I cook, I like to use local products. There are amazing white wines in the north of Italy, especially near Trieste, near Trento. Also around Naples, they have really good wines, white wines. But I'd rather take wines from the region. So whenever I travel, I taste local products. Here we are. So, we don't want to put bad wine in the risotto. So before doing that, we need to taste the wine and check if it's actually good. And
we have the most beautiful wine glasses ever.
Yeah, very fancy glasses. They're really professional.
Italian glasses with sunshine and sun umbrellas and a bit of peach.
Yeah, well, it's a new house, so we are still, new apartment, we are still getting what we need. And it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So here we go. Usually it's like 1 glass for the risotto is enough. I'm going to show you. I improvise, I don't have it right. I think like this is enough. And
now you put it the wine, right?
mm-hmm.
And the brodo is for after.
Yes. Okay, so let's take a look at it. As you can see, every 2 minutes, don't go watch a movie in the while, because it's gonna burn. And we're gonna wait a few minutes till it's dry. When it's almost dry, before it gets dry, we're gonna add the bouillon. And I think that in 15 minutes from now, it's gonna get ready. So, yeah, more or less 15 minutes.
Okay.
How to serve this? That's an important question. In Italy, we don't like to mix things. We keep everything in a different dish. Traditionally, for like big dinners, big events like a Christmas lunch or dinner, or for a wedding, these are the courses that you're gonna eat. First, the appetizers. Antipasto. Antepasto, before the meal. That's a little thing. Then, or it depends, sometimes it's big already. Then you have the first course, il primo, which is usually pasta or risotto or a soup, minestra. After that, you have the secondo, the second course, the main course, which is usually a meat or fish, or it could be some vegetarian things like the parmigiana di melanzane, that's fried eggplants with tomato sauce and cheese, and then in the oven it's amazing. And then, it's not enough, then you're gonna have some side dish, that's, we call it contorno, some vegetables, some salad, that we're gonna eat together with that. And then, if you want, you can have some cheese at the end, some fruit, and il dolce, the dessert. Then a little coffee. Coffee is good for, digesting and everything. But then, if coffee excites you too much, then you have the coffee killer. We call it coffee killer is ammazza caffè liquor. It's a little herbal liquor that you can use to turn the coffee effect off. Well, this only happens in big events. We don't eat that much every day. So daily, we choose either primo and antipasto or primo e dolce, so a pasta and a dessert, pasta and you don't have a lot every day. So today we're gonna have the risotto, which is a primo, and the artichokes, carciofi alla romana. This could be considered either un antipasto if you eat it before, or un secondo. Actually, if it's good, if it's big enough, that could be considered a secondo or a contorno. Anyway, it's two different things. In one dish we're gonna put the artichoke. In the other dish we're gonna put the risotto. Okay, here it's almost dry, so we need to add the bouillon. which smells in an amazing way. And just keep it there, boiling. And we take what we need to cook the rice. And I'm gonna show you here. So this is how it's looking. I think we need a bit more of bouillon here. Wait a second. Okay. Look at the color. This kind of brown color, very good. That's the artichoke that gives the bouillon this particular color. It smells very good. Now, here we have some Parmigiano. Parmigiano Reggiano. Parmesan, somehow called. Parma is a city in the north of Italy, between Bologna and Milan. Reggio Emilia is another city close to Parma, in the south of the Po River. And in this region, there's a particular environment. It's between the Apennine Mountains, the Po River, the Adriatic Sea. It's like a triangle, which is unique for its environment, and it's very good for the grass and the cattle. So cows that grow up there and eat that grass make a very good milk. It's something that if you just take a cow which is on the other side of the river, the milk has a different taste. So if you make the same cheese with the same procedure, just 100 kilometers, 1 hour north, it tastes differently. So it's only Parmigiano Reggiano if it's done in the cities of Parma and Reggio. That's it. If you go to Lodi, 1 hour north, it's not Parmigiano anymore. You have to call it with another name. If it's done in the north of the Po River, it's called Grana Padano. If it's done in the region of Trento, it's Grana Trentino, and so on. They're all good, but Parmigiano Reggiano has something different. Keep adding bouillon till it's ready, and make sure it doesn't stick to the pot. It doesn't have to get dry. Tastes very good already. I'm not checking the time. I usually just taste it after a while. And it's good to taste it to check the salt's good, and wow, it tastes very good already. And it's not done yet, still 5 minutes, I'd say. Oh, we almost forgot about the Roman artichoke. Let's check how it is. It smells very good, and it's almost done. Let's put a fork. Yeah, it's very soft. It's ready. I will turn the fire off. I'm adding some more water to the bouillon, just in case we add, we need to add it to the risotto here. So, what about the Parmigiano? We also organize some visits. You can visit some Parmigiano cheese factory. With our culinary program, we visit, among the other places, vineyard, wineries, gelato factories, and a Parmigiano cheese production. So we go in the region of Reggio Emilia, Bologna, Modena, where they do the balsamic vinegar, which is also amazing. We also visit a vinegar factory. And in the Parmigiano cheese factory, they show you the whole production. So from the milk, they let it cook, they mix it, and then they remove the cheese part from the serum, and then they let it, they create these forms, and then they let it stand for a long time. It's only Parmigiano Reggiano if it stayed there for at least 12 months. Before 12 months, it's not considered Parmigiano. So before 12 months, they don't even print the name on it. After 12 months, there's a moment where a Parmigiano expert, which is, it's like a musician, it's like a genius of Parmigiano knowledge, who goes there. You have to imagine these huge rooms with hundreds and thousands of cheese forms everywhere. And he takes one. He takes a little hammer and he goes, toot, 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 toot. And by the noise the Parmigiano makes, he understands if there's some cracks inside, if there's some holes, if it fermented well or not, and he divides it into 3 categories. If there are holes inside, it's gone. It didn't work, and that's going to be thrown away. If there are little cracks, little things, if it just doesn't sound good, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's a good cheese, but you have to eat it fast because it probably won't last for the next year or 2 years. So then you keep it, but you don't call it Parmigiano. You call it fresh cheese from the Emilia region. And only the one that has the good sound, the good texture, without opening it, then they keep it, they print the name of it, Parmigiano Reggiano, and there, it can stay there for 1, 2, 3 years, and the more the time passes, the more it gets salty, strong, flavory, spicy even. Well, this Parmigiano, it's 22 months average, I would say. It's good to be graded in a risotto. 12 months is still too fresh, too soft for me. I don't like it that much. It's good, but this is very good. More than that, like 30 months, 40, it goes to 72 months. That's very strong and very hard. You are not going to grade it. It's a waste. It's a cheese that has stayed there waiting for you to eat it for years. So there you just, it's more like a contemplation cheese. Whoops. So now it's going to be soon the last part of the risotto making. It's called mantecatura. That is to create that creamy texture. Of course, you have the starch, the way it's cooked. It helps. So it's already kind of creamy. You're going to see it. It could be good like this. You can eat it like this and it's going to be good. So if you are, if you're vegan, if you prefer to have it dairy free, you can eat it like this and it's perfectly fine. But if you want to create a more like creamy texture and make it a bit tastier, then you need to add cheese and maybe a bit of butter. And this helps you understand how crazy Italians are about food. We have a word just for this part of the risotto making process. It's called mantecatura, mantecare. It's a word that we never use. It's only for this situation. Mantecare, it means to mix cheese and butter with the risotto and mix it until it gets creamier. So you can see how crazy about food we are. Italian cuisine is not fancy as the French cuisine, but it has a very, very long tradition, which is rooted in the everyday culture. And the local products are very important. Italy has been for hundreds of years a very poor country. And what people were eating were poor ingredients. Have you ever heard of the Mediterranean diet? Well, this nutritionist discovered that in the south of Naples, in Sardinia, and in an island close to Japan, they were the places where people were living the most, longer. They had less cardiovascular diseases. Why that? Because of their diet, of what they were eating. And this was very traditional. It was not like a fancy new diet. It was the traditional diet of what people were eating since centuries. So this person went to this place in the south of Naples, a region called Cilento, a very beautiful region with mountains falling on the sea. That's the land where Parmenides, the great Greek philosopher, came from. It was a part of Italy that was under the Greek control in ancient times. Well, in that region, they have a very typical Italian cuisine, very simple. They eat locally grown vegetables, some carbs, some pasta sometimes, olive oil. They don't eat much animal fat, so not much butter, not much cream, for a simple reason. It's hills and mountains, so cows don't live there. And they were poor. They were working, walking every day up and down the mountain, eating some fish, and maybe some chicken on Sundays. So not a lot of meat, mostly vegetables, olive oil, and this simple cuisine is very, very healthy. And Italy is also the place where the slow food culture was born. The slow food movement was created against the fast food concept. And as you can see, it's like an hour that we're here, 2 hours. That's slow food. Everything I bought is cheap. It's simple. You need time. Obviously, when you're in a hurry, just do hamburger. That's 2 minutes, okay? But there's a difference. And I think that this part of the Italian culture, learn to take your time for the little things. That's very important. Well, I think that's ready. I think that is ready. Let me taste it. Perfect.
Can I also taste it?
Yeah, sure. Now, the mantecatura. Wait a second. And can you handle me the butter? I think it's here. Okay. I forgot to tell you something. For a dairy-free or a vegan diet, there is an option. Actually, it's a good option. Instead of the butter and the cheese, you can use other substances. I suggest actually the miso. You know the Japanese miso? That's fermented soybeans. There are two kinds. The red one, which is done in the west of Japan, and the white one, which is done in the east, in the region of Osaka. And you can find it, I think, in every big city you're going to find it. If you take a bit of this white miso and you mix it with olive oil, just mash it a bit, it creates like a cream and you can add this to the risotto, and it will help during the mantecatura process. It will help giving this creamy texture, and the miso is also kind of tasty, salty, savory, so it will add taste, just like the Parmigiano does. So that's actually a good dairy-free and vegan option. And you want to taste?
Yeah.
Maybe I was lying and it's very bad. So.
Actually, it smells very good already, and it smells also very good in the other rooms of the apartment. Not bad.
Approved?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if anyone tried to cook together with me. If you did, I would love to see what happened. So, before eating, please take a picture and post it on the event. I would love to see what came out, what happened. And now we're going to serve it. And, okay. You serve the risotto over there, and I'm going to put the artichokes here. As I told you, separate dishes. You can eat it together. No one will get mad, but
Maybe.
And
show it. Ah, yeah.
Oh, that's good. And here it is.
And here
And
it
the
is.
risotto.
Buon appetito!
And let's show it to the other computer here. So here is the artichokes the Roman way, Roman style artichokes. And il risotto.
Bombe!
I hope you enjoyed it. And, oops. Well, I'm sorry guys, the other computer turned off out of battery. My bad.
I can search the charger.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this experience, and I hope you learned something. I'm not a cook, I told you. It's my first real cooking class. We've done something with some groups. It's my first online cooking class. But as you know, I love sharing about my culture, and I think that the real culture of a country is not just literature, it's not just history, it's also everyday life, and this is something you need to travel to experience. You cannot find it in the book, and I think these live streams are a very good way of experiencing the everyday life of people in another way. And I'd love to have some feedbacks. I hope you like the experience. And if you want to try and cook this on the next days, and you need suggestions, just write here. I'll answer you. And yeah, as you've seen, it's written. This is a completely free experience, and when we say it's free, it's real. So we mean it. And so, of course, you're free to leave a tip if you want. There's my PayPal account, but you're not expected to. We're all in this situation together. We're all in the same boat. And but I think that like this, if we learn to make to create beautiful moments in our everyday life, and to enjoy the little things we have. The quarantine passes very fast, and if we do it all together, everything is going to be good.
Yeah, and also fun.
And fun.
Okay. Ciao, buon appetito.
Ciao, buon appetito.